Retro Realm to get the best retro ever. SpongeBob!
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Hobby Lodge, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about the brand new Retro Realm 2.0. We went for a visit yesterday, me and my family, and just wanted to sort of jump on and talk about it, show you the pickups, and hopefully get you excited about maybe visiting the Retro Realm yourself. So in case you don't know, the Retro Realm is a shop owned by the awesome Sega Zombie. Check out his channel below, but I'm sure if you're watching this you've probably seen Sega Zombie's stuff. A fantastic YouTuber, fantastic channel, and he's following his dreams of opening his own store. The Retro Realm 1.0 was in like a pop-up micro shops environment where lots of stores are given the opportunity to try and run a very small version of what shop they might want to do, and try and be a success. The problem is, it was like a hidden gem, right? If you knew where it was and you knew where to go, you could go there, see Scott, buy some stuff. But the problem with a hidden gem is it's hidden, and therefore not many people knew where it was and could go there and get involved and support the shop. So this is now him moving from that micro shop to the new store. This new store is located in the Sailmakers shopping centre, which is the main shopping centre in Ipswich town. Ipswich town for me is about an hour and 20 away, you know, on a good day with traffic. Unfortunately, it does involve things for me like the M25 and the unpredictability of that. So we went yesterday. It took us about 2 hours to get there, but in the centre of Ipswich town centre, there is a place called the Sailmakers, which is like a super, what would you call it? A shopping centre. Sorry, that's probably the best word. Within there, as soon as you go in from the high street, there's an escalator. You go up the escalator, you turn back on yourself, you'll see the Army Surplus shop. So you go in there and buy all your Metal Gear Solid and Splinter Cell equipment so you can sneak up on Scott. And then you'll see a HMV, and right across from HMV is the Retro Realm. And also the shop that he sort of coexists with, which is called Attic in the Moon. Also a very cool, like, nice little shop there. But Retro Realm, you'll see it from a distance. You'll see the bright coloured shelves of Sega Zombies Sega setup. You'll see the Donkey Kong marquee in the window. You'll see just it's great colors, great view, and I'm sure it's going to get even better when signage goes up and things like that. But hopefully, whilst I'm rambling right now, you're seeing, more importantly, videos of the store that I took as I went round. So yeah, much bigger space than he had before. You know, in the old space, Scott had to make use of every inch, frankly. But of course, he crammed so much into the small space that he had, and therefore things were maybe on top of each other, behind other things. You know, he had to do what he could, and he did a cracking job of it. But in this place, he now has so much room for him to expand. He's got shelving for certain areas. So you've got the PS2 section, the DS section, the PlayStation 3 section, PlayStation 4 section, the Blu-rays, the DVDs, the toys. And even with the toys, he's able to section out the toys as he wants. So you've got a He-Man area, you've got a Thundercats space, you've got Marvel, you've got the sort of more toys or the statue type things, you've got the DVD collection boxes, you've got everything you can want, the board games, the consoles, the magazines, the plushies. There is room for everything in the store, and everything's got a really nice piece of space, and you can get around it, you can look around it, you can pick things up, you can have a feel for them. It's just such a much nicer environment than what it was in before, because you're in the store, where before you was kind of like just in the booth, and you had other people around you, maybe eating their lunch and so on and so forth, and it always felt a little bit awkward, especially as someone who'd like to go there and spend a lot of time, you know, and have a chat with Scott as well. If there was people to be served, you always felt like you were in the way a little bit. This doesn't have that feel at all. Really open, airy space, nice high ceilings, a nice and clean environment. It's just really cool to be there. So yeah, as you walk in front of you, you've got kind of like these plinth areas laid out with consoles and magazines. I know Scott's thinking about changing those into more sort of racking, so you can put more things out there. And then around the edge of the shop, you've got all of the cabinets, again displaying all of the cool toys that he has, so you can go in there and obviously really get hands on. There's some cool stuff as well. I was had to be very disciplined, and obviously I'll show you my pickups in a bit. Very disciplined about not going too crazy, because some of the He-Man stuff was mint. It was absolutely lovely. Some of the best He-Man figures I've seen. But of course, as we know, this stuff, the nicer it is, the more complete it is, the pricier it gets. And yeah, I was very close to doing it. I had to close the cabinet to be like, no, walk away, walk away. So yeah, entire area with DVDs and Blu-rays, and then all your consoles. And then at the desk where you see Scott sort of standing behind there, he has like a display cabinet with things like handhelds in and all sorts of things. So look, you're going to be seeing loads of images, and if I run out of words, hopefully I'm playing some music over the top of that of the video as well. So stick around and keep watching it, because I think it's super cool. I'm so happy for Scott Sega Zombie. He's got this dream, he's following his dream, he's doing a really cool thing. I hope everyone can get themselves down to Ipswich Town Centre to go and support Scott in doing this, because we want the realm to live. We want it to live on for a long, long time. And I will certainly, even though it's a little bit of a trek for me, I will certainly be there as often as I can. So yeah, it's awesome. Get over there and see. Let's jump in to some pickups.
If it's 40, then sell it for 41. Then buy it again, sell it for 42. Then buy it again, etc.
So each time I buy it, I put a pound on it.
Yeah.
I get it. Sell it for hire, top tip.
So the first thing I'll talk about is we picked up some movies. I've been trying to not collect too many DVDs or Blu-rays or things like that, but I do want to buy some films that are sort of special to me or iconic to me for various reasons. So the first thing I picked up was actually sealed. It's sealed. It's new in box. Look, it is the Lethal Weapon collection. And there are some prices on things, but these aren't the prices I paid. Scott's always open to people who sort of buy stuff or want to negotiate stuff, things like that. So you should definitely do some of that, especially for buying a load of stuff. But yes, I don't know if it's been I don't think it's been resealed, but it's the Lethal Weapon Blu-ray collection. Lethal Weapon movies are freaking awesome, and I have noticed that if you watch these digitally on things like Amazon Prime or other things, they've been doctored, as it were. There are scenes that get removed. I know these weren't filmed so well, I know every single scene, almost every single line, and I can tell that there is bits removed. So I wanted the set on the Blu-ray so that they're mine to have as I want. Next up, I've got 3 horror movies that are pretty iconic from my childhood. My eldest son, James, he's really into horror now. He's really getting into it. So I figured I would watch these 3 with him, because they are ones that not scarred me, but the old man from these movies is pretty darn scary. So it is the Poltergeist series. So we've got Poltergeist 1, 2 and 3. Just iconic movies from when I was a kid. I remember being very scared of the old man, really loving the little old lady in it. This house is clean. So yeah, you can just see him in the back there. You can see the lady and you can see the old man. Yeah, really cool. Poltergeist 1, 2 and 3, and again, super cheap. I mean, cheaper than what you pay on blooming any streaming service for them anyway. And yeah, iconic movies. Next up, one that people didn't really like, but I really liked it. That's because I was a World of Warcraft player for, and still am, 18 plus years, maybe even 20 years going on now, and that is the World of Warcraft the movie. I actually quite think this is quite a nice little fantasy movie, regardless of whether it had the World Warcraft sort of tie-in or not. But yeah, if you've not seen it, it's good, and it was literally a couple of quid on Blu-ray, so I really enjoyed that. Another one is the Stand series. This is the entire series on one set of DVDs. It's like 400 minutes long. If you've not seen this, this is a really cool adaptation for television of Stephen King's The Stand. There was a new one, I think, a few years ago. This one's from the 90s, and it's really, really good. I highly recommend it. Yeah, so The Stand, and it's also new, sealed. Another iconic movie that I thought James would enjoy, getting into his horror, and that is, of course, the awesome Fright Night. And I would love to pick up Fright Night 2 as well at some point. Fright Night's a great movie. Fright Night 2, maybe, I think they're I don't know whether I'd put Fright Night 1 or Fright Night 2. Interesting. Maybe Fright Night 2 above Fright Night 1, maybe. This one, saw it, had to get it because, hey, it's Predator and Predator 2. And I am someone who actually really likes Predator 2. I think Predator 2 stands up on its own. I don't know about the other Predator movies, but Predator 1, of course, is a classic. There's no doubt about that. But Predator 2, I really enjoy as well. Next up is, when I said I'm collecting movies that I really want, that's because, well, the ones I want to collect all of the Van Damme movies. As a kid, I blooming loved Jean-Claude Van Damme. It's why I got into martial arts when I was a kid. I hold belts in both Taekwondo and Shotokan Karate. I couldn't carry it on when I was older, and I probably left it far too long now. But until I was in my 20s, I was all over it. And it was because of movies by Van Damme. You know, things like Kickboxer. There we go. Bloodsport, those sorts of things. So he had Kickboxer there, and he had where it all started. He had No Retreat, No Surrender, where actually Van Damme is a bad guy. But you know, picked up those two. And last but not least, he had this. He mentioned it in talking as we were looking at the DVDs. I said, "Oh, you know, I just want to pick up some classic movies." And then we talked about our favourite Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, and my favourite Arnold Schwarzenegger movie is Total Recall. And he said, "Oh, I've got a steel box of Total Recall," and there it is. So yeah, let me know below, what's your favourite Arnold Schwarzenegger movie? You know, is it Terminator? Is it Predator? For me, it's Total Recall. I could watch this many times over, and I have. So when there was this kind of, I mean, literally a few quid, steel book version of it, I thought, hey, I've definitely got to pick that up and put that on display behind me, because yeah, that is my favourite Arnold Schwarzenegger movie of all time, Total Recall. Right, let's jump into some games, shall we? So, what should we show first? Of course, I had to pick up something on the Commodore 64. Scott, you know, he's hid the Commodore 64s down in the corner. Like, come on, they should be front and center in the store. So, yeah, I saw this one up here. It's one of the Mastertronic 199 range. I don't have this one, Orbitron. I don't actually know the game itself, but the cover is super familiar to me, so I don't know why. I bet when I load it up, obviously there's no pictures or anything on it, so I can't tell. But my guess is I probably will recognize it when I fire it up, because that cover, it just rings bells. So yeah, looking forward to loading up Orbitron on the Commodore 64. On the Nintendo, we picked up 2 games. So we had first of all, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. So yeah, classic Disney cartoon, Disney afternoon cartoon platformer. You can't go wrong with these games. They are fantastic to play. As of pretty much all of them are. I don't think there's a bad one in the bunch, really. So yeah, didn't have this one, so really happy to add it to the collection. Next up was one that I have not played, but I was going to pick it up anyway because it was one of the games I hadn't heard of. But Scott actually said he's been playing it semi-recently, and it's really good. And it's, I don't know if I'm going to say it correctly, Burai Fighter. It looks like a cool action platformer. I want to say Metroid, like a Castlevania, Metroid type game, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's just more straightforward action platforming, but it looks really cool. So yeah, looking forward to playing that one, and one that I didn't have. For the Game Boy, I picked up Mario Golf, just because I actually quite like golf games, especially on like top-down handheld games. So yeah, looking forward to a couple of rounds of Mario Golf. On the SNES, I got 2 games. I got this one, which is Total Carnage, which is a bit of a Smash TV clone, but looks really good. So yeah, looking forward to getting to play with that. Total Carnage. And then this, but I don't have the thing to go with it. I got Nintendo Scope 6. So this is the cartridge that comes with the scope itself. And I'd like to get it, because as you may have known, I now have like my light gun alley. I've got all my light guns set up because I really enjoy playing light gun games, and I want to get the Super Nintendo Super Scope. But when I saw the cartridge there for £2, I picked up the cartridge, and then I can pick up the scope separately at some point when I see it. I have asked Scott if one comes in to put it by for me, so we'll see if that arrives. Next up on the Mega Drive, actually no, we'll show N64 first. I don't have many N64 games, so I'm trying to get into love with that system, trying to enjoy it. It wasn't one that I was sort of feeling very nostalgic for, so I thought I'd give it a go. Now this game for me is actually more of a PC game. That's where I played it the most. But it is Revolt on the N64. It's a fantastic racing game with remote control cars. So yeah, if you've not played Revolt, I highly recommend it. And then I got 1080 snowboarding, because again, snowboarding games are normally pretty good on systems. So I thought I'd check out some snowboarding on 1080. And last up, yeah, I think it is last up, we got a Mega Drive game. But not just a Mega Drive game, we got, first of all, Lethal Enforcers 2 Gunfight. There we go, Lethal Enforcers. And of course, to go with Lethal Enforcers, we got the Magnum, the Lethal Enforcer, the Justifier Magnum for the Mega Drive. It's one of the light guns I don't own, so it looks so cool, doesn't it? It's like such a cool looking light gun. I wish it had, like, you know, like I've got the Sega Saturn. No, what have I got? The gun con with the movable chamber and stuff like that. Imagine if they did these with a spinning 6-shooter or a hammer you could cock or something. That would be so freaking cool. But yes, the Lethal Enforcer, the Justifier gun to go with my Mega Drive, and obviously a game, so that we can set that up also in Light Gun Alley over there, so that I can be playing that as well. So yeah, loads of cool stuff. Obviously, I also got a sticker from Scott's shop. I know he wants to do a bit more merch type stuff, so maybe bags, t-shirts, stickers, key rings, those sorts of things, because I think if we all visit, we'd all love to take a little bit of the Retro Realm away with us. So those things are coming as well. So I've seen the sticker, I've got one. It's on the wall over there next to my Muscle Men in Commodore Corner. But yeah, super cool. And of course there is the little shop next, so I should talk about that as well just a little bit. Attic in the Moon is it's hard to describe it, because I don't want to make it sound like it's just not my thing, but many people are into it. So it's very sort of, you know, people that are into sort of spiritual stuff. Well, I don't want to say witchcraft, but I think that's part of it as well. I think there is that sort of people that are into the more mystical, more just sort of, you know, spiritual type things. It sells candles and smells and incenses and beads and stones and all of those cool things that people like. And actually, it's quite a yin and yang type thing to Scott's store, where Scott's store is all about excitement and you know, gaming and you know, all the things that come along with that, all the stuff that gets us excited. And then you've got this kind of tranquil, peaceful side of this store as well, where these smells are emanating from, and it was quite a nice environment. I actually really thought it worked really well. So yeah, you know, if you're there, check them out. Go and see them and support them as well. And of course, next door to Scott, there is the Nerd Hut, and the Nerd Hut was another pop-up shop in the micro stores. So yeah, check that out too. Apologies there, I had a little bit of a jump cut, but anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you liked all of my pickups, and more importantly, I hope you can go and support the Retro Realm if you can. So hopefully you're not too far away, make a day trip of it. There's loads to do in Ipswich. I'm not the the guru of what goes on there, but yeah, loads to go and do there. So please go and check it out, and if you can, go and see Scott, go to the Retro Realm, support it as best you can. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, do the usual, give it a like. If you're not subscribed to the channel. Definitely go and check out Sega Zombies channel as well. Up the realm, we want the realm to succeed, and I'm sure it will, because Scott is the best person to possibly do it. So yeah, that's it, my video's done, and I'll see you next time. All right, bye bye.
Retro Realm, to get the best retro ever. SpongeBob.